fitness in the building.
All right, here we go. Woo, testing, 1, 2. It looks like we are live. Hey, what's going on, fellas? Woo, if you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. We have got a hot show tonight because we're talking about a little known secret that everybody needs to know about. Every man needs to know. And I want to make sure everybody gets this message. And as always, this is what we do. We introduce ourselves. My name is Brian, aka Uncle B. And for the last 21 years, been a men's performance coach with African Fly. And if you could do me a favor, go ahead and hop into the comments section and let me know where you're representing. Hit me up there. That's what we do every Thursday night between 9 and 10 o'clock. We get it in. We talk about all the issues that concern you in terms of your health, your level of health, and getting better, especially when it comes to your erection control. And that's what we're talking about tonight, the secrets to erection control. Good to see you, Carrie, there. What's going on, Milton? Gail, what's going on? What's good? What's good? My comment. Let's go. That's not let's let's go. Let's go get it. Housekeeping as always. If you could go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We have over 200 videos with a bunch of information. And all of that information actually pertains to tonight and what we're going to talk about tonight, which is really important. Is erection control. I get this question. I get this question a lot. Guys are like, especially when you're in that unreliable zone on a sexual performance scale that's between 5 and a 7, which is you just unreliable. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 5 to 7. You're just unreliable. And it's like, okay, we have guys who are like, they're making the changes, they're doing the right things, but sometimes you actually need to understand what you haven't been doing and what you have been doing and not guessing at it. And that's the main thing. You can't guess at what's going on with your life when it comes to your erections. It's your body. You need to know what's going on. So that's what we're going to talk about. And you know, it's those situations where everything is supposed to be working and it's just not. It's like, what happened this morning? I was ready to go and then it didn't happen. You may be confused as to what happened. And the reason for that confusion is because you don't know what's going on. Hey, Moonshine, what's going on with you, sir? And so that's what we're talking about. The reasons are within your patterns, the patterns that you're doing every day that you may not be paying attention to. So that's really when we're talking about the secret to erection control, is really your patterns. I know that's simple, so we're going to break it down as well. And once again, for those guys who are new here, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and sexual performance coach with African Fly. This is what we do every Thursday night. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And of course, go ahead. What's going on, Corey? Go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. What's going on with you, Alonzo? All right. So let's get into it. Because the thing about patterns is that most people have patterns, they don't even think about it. You get out of bed and you do this specific thing. You go brush your teeth, you're pulling your clothes out, blah, blah, blah. We're just going along. And when you have a pattern, it makes things easier. I mean, imagine waking up and it's like, okay, where's the bathroom? Where's my toothbrush? What do I do? How do I prepare for work? How do I get myself ready? You already have these patterns sort of laid out. You got your to-do list already stuck in your head. In fact, you have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Problem is, most of those thoughts are always the same. And the reason for that is because it's a pattern. Humans are used to patterns. That's because it's easy. When you think about it, it's like, when you've gone to church, if you've gone to church often enough, you typically end up sitting in the same space. You look around, Sister Barbara got her seat over there. Brother Johnson got his seat over there. You go to school, especially in college where you can pick your own seat. You end up sitting with your clique, whether that's in the front, the back, patterns. So we're going to talk about those patterns. The problem with patterns is if the thing that you want to have happen isn't lined up with your thoughts, then it's not going to happen in terms of patterns, because it's not something that, in terms of erection control or weight loss or lifting or any goal you want to get to, it's always got to be a pattern to it. So the way we break it down is we will want to get clear with your thoughts, what you want. What you want is erections on demand, or erections whenever you want them. And you have to make sure that you have the thought in mind, like, yep, that's what I want to get to. And then you have to keep reinforcing those thoughts until those thoughts become what you do on a regular basis, which is a pattern. So that's it in a nutshell. You have to get good on what your patterns are so that you can get it into your mind that this is what I want to do. And when it becomes a pattern, when it becomes a part of your lifestyle, that's when it becomes easy. Typically, when we're talking about doing the things that we need to do to get healthier, we're talking about a pattern. Most people don't think about what they're doing. They just go out and do it. So the first piece of information you need to understand about your patterns is, what have you already done? What is the pattern that you've already gone through? And for my guys who've been around for a while, we always talk about the ESEIS 25, the ESEIS. That stands for energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and your soul. And so what I did is actually turn this into a game. It's called ESEIS 25. It is a game. It's basically it's a way to track what you're doing very easily. So if you just have yourself a calendar, you can print a calendar out. And basically what you're trying to do is, within those 5 different areas, every time you do it in a day, you get a 5. So let's say you're trying to eat better. Okay, your goal as far as eating better is, today I'm not going to eat meat. That's your goal. Okay, maybe this week I'm not going to eat meat. That's your goal. So every time you do that in a day, you get a 5. It doesn't have to be, for some people, that not eating meat in a day, that's new. So maybe you're eating meat at every meal. So you want to cut eating meat at every meal down from 3 meals to 2 meals. 1 meal, no meat. All right, that you get a 5 out of that. So you have a level of flexibility, so you can just continually improve. So you get a 5 for eating, you get a 5 for getting a good night's sleep, you get a 5 for getting your exercise on, whether that's yoga, whether that's lifting weights, whether that's a HIIT program. You're getting a 5 for intermittent fasting, and you're also getting a 5 for de-stressing yourself, whether it's going down a list of things that stress you and taking it out of your life. That's a 5. Or you just meditated that day, whether it's micro meditations, 30 seconds of meditations, or you took time in the morning and got a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes of meditation. You get a 5 for that. So the highest you can get, obviously, is a 25. The lowest you can get is a 0. So what ends up happening? If you are at a 0 to a 10 on the regular, that's not good. That means of the 5 things, you're only hitting 2 of them. And that means you're in the downward cycle. A 0 to 5 means that, the next day you're not going to be as fresh. You're not going to be as energetic. You're not going to be as good. If you're hitting a 15, you're maintaining. The issue with a 15, just maintaining that same level, is that if you do that over a period of time, age is catching up with you. So that 15 maintenance is actually going to be less and less. You want to be hitting a 20 or ideally a 25. When you're at a 20, you're advancing, you're progressing. When you're at a 25, you're progressing exponentially. You're moving much faster. So that's the way you look at playing this particular game. And like I said, it's real easy. It's very simple. You just grab yourself, you can print out a calendar, you can get a wall calendar. I actually have a wall calendar. I have a wall calendar and I just write out what my score is. Now, here's the crazy thing, guys. When you start scoring yourself and you seeing your patterns, it's eye opening. It's eye opening. As you guys, for the guys who've been around, you've seen me with. I went to a Spartan race. I did a Spartan race. This was 4 miles, running up the side of a mountain, doing obstacles. Well, I mean, running up the side of the mountain is an obstacle in and of itself. But when you got to the top, there were more obstacles, about a good 24 obstacles you had to go to, coming down the mountain, going through mud pits, climbing ropes, all types of just strange and weird things. It's a Spartan race. So training for the Spartan race, I was the week before scoring myself, I was hitting, the lowest I hit was a 15. I hit like 20s, 20, 20, 25, 15, 20. And so, going into the race, I was good. Everything was good, was great. Sexual performance scale, sitting there, good, solid 8. No problems. Everything's wonderful. Then the week after that, oh my God, I did the Spartan race, had my medals, got my hat, got my shirt. I'm sized. I'm doing whatever the hell I want to because I just ran up a mountain. And so took it a bit too far. Went and started getting, doing 15s, doing 10s, things that weren't making any sense. I was actually did a 5 one day. I'm just eating whatever, doing whatever. And within a week, sexual performance goes down by 2 points. It's that simple, guys. When you're on your game and you're seeing that things are going well, oh my God, you want to keep it up. When you see that it's not going well, you're like, oh, that's what happened. Let me go ahead and go back and fix it. So once I saw what happened, getting 5s, 10s, and 15s, it was like, yeah, next week, 25s and going back up. And so that's what you want to know. You want to know what your patterns are. Once you know what your patterns are, it becomes immensely easier to be able to score yourself and be able to improve. And, it's a game. It's like once you start hitting those 25s, you're like, oh, no, I don't want to do a 15. You're doing your intermittent fasting, and then it's like, today I don't want to do that. But damn, I don't want to go back down. And so it encourages you to go forward with improving your patterns. And that's the whole point, fellas. This has to become a lifestyle. We've been in a lifestyle of eating whatever you want to, go to sleep when you want to, exercise 3 times a week, stuff like the stuff that's not working. We can see that it's not working. Once you're able to establish what a pattern is and turn it into a game, it becomes a lot more fun. You're able to do this. Yes. My man says you check yourself continuously. Do I grow my own food? Unfortunately, no, not yet. Not yet. But great questions though. Oh yeah, fellas, once again, go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. We will definitely be getting to those. So like I said, it's pretty easy to do this. The idea, like was mentioned, you have to be consistent with it. When you are consistent with writing down your scores, it becomes a lot easier. You're like, I see myself. You go back and look over the past month. It's like, oh, wow. And here's the crazy thing. The truth. Once I went back up and I hit 25, I did 25s 5 days in a row. Each of those 5 days, I was losing a pound a day. It was crazy. And, the thing that happens once you're doing this, the reason why this is so valuable, every step on here deals with your blood flow and your testosterone. What is needed for better erections, blood flow, and testosterone. So if you're getting a good night's sleep, your testosterone builds while you're asleep. If you're intermittent fasting, you're skipping breakfast basically, then during the day, your testosterone is building until you eat again. So your testosterone is building then. Exercise, obviously blood flow and testosterone. And here's the crazy thing. When it comes to exercising, people are like, okay, I'm exercising, I'm building up the muscles. If you do not get to sleep, if you do not give your body the chance to repair the muscles, you just tore the muscles, you put your muscles through stress. If you don't go to sleep to repair those muscles, then you end up, you built up the potential for testosterone and then you just lost it. So that's how important that is. When it comes to energy, if you guys saw my video talking about a nitric oxide menu, I just kept going with the nitric oxide salads that I was making. We're talking about arugula, things like that I added to the salad. And so that was helping with the blood flow. So all these things tie in together. Obviously, when it comes to stress, your soul, if you have you're removing stress out of your life, that encourages more blood flow, and that cortisol that's being built up from that stress, when that's being relieved, your testosterone is going up. So all of these things play into each other. That's the reason why when you hit 25s, it becomes exponentially faster. You get to your goals as quickly as possible. Yes, indeed. So that's basically it. I mean, a couple of things to remember though. For my guys who are like thinking, okay, what else can affect my testosterone during the day? The first thing is nature. So when you wake up first thing in the morning, that's the highest level of testosterone. If you allow it to build with intermittent fasting, your testosterone levels go up. But during the day, during a normal day, your testosterone levels start going back down again. So in the morning, that's why you get morning erections. Not too many people talk about evening erections, coming out of nowhere because you're awake. And as you're awake, your body's just going through a cycle and everything. So in the evenings is not the greatest time to have sex. It's easier in terms of timing and everything like that, but you just have to be aware of that. Also, obviously, stress. If you're stressed out, if I put a gun to your head and say, get an erection, no, that's not going to happen. So stress isn't a good thing for your erections. So you have to be aware of that. Also, when you're eating, try not to eat a good 3 hours before you do. That's like swimming. When you go swimming, they say don't eat for a full 3 hours before that. Well, yeah, when it comes to having sex, it's exercise. It's not as intense as swimming is on every part of your body, but it's still exercise. And if you already have issues with your erections being unreliable, having your body has to digest the food. As soon as you put food into your body, it has to digest it first, because part of what you just put into you, no matter how clean you're eating, it still has some level of poisons in it. That's just the way food is. That's the way your body has to deal with stuff. That's the reason why when you eat stuff, no matter what you eat, there's always something coming out. There's always waste coming out. So that's one thing. And also, just a real quick thing in terms of your circulation, keep your socks on. Keep your socks on. So just remember that when you are having sex, your blood is being drawn to your erogenous zones, the center mass of your body. However, the rest of your body still needs blood. It still needs blood flow to keep it warm, to be in homeostasis. So if you're trying to get blood flow to the center of your body and you're losing heat and blood flow because, due to your feet, just put socks on. Takes care of that. Makes it much easier. And of course, there's African fly. So that's one of the reasons why when you take African fly, it actually makes your hands and feet feel cooler because it's drawing blood to the center of your body, your erogenous zones. So there we go. There we go. So yes, Claude says hydration. Yeah, hydration. Yeah, in fact, good call, sir. Good call. Mm-hmm. Got it right there. All right, cool. So, once again, guys, good to have you on here. Love seeing everybody. Oh, by the way, I do have to apologize for last week. Let me adjust this just a little bit. There we go. There we go. I do have to apologize for last week. We just have a whole bunch of things going on over here. We're actually putting together an ECS 25 game. We're putting together a whole course for this. This is how powerful it is. It just works. It's that simple. It just works. So we turn it into a course just so you guys can get as much information as possible. And Moonshine, waiting on that meal plan video. That's actually going to be a part of the ECS 25 because a meal plan is serious. It's I want to make sure I get it right and it's rounded enough for enough people. We have people around the planet on this. So yes, indeed. So cool. So yeah, once again, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to check out africanfly.com, we got some videos over there, a whole bunch of other information. And yeah, let's go ahead and get to some more questions here. So yeah, did answer that. No, I do not grow my own food. Wish I could though. Wish I could. I have a cousin who's she's looking to start a farm. So there you go. So Corey asks, have you ever heard of a supplement called Redwood? Yes, I have. I have heard of Redwood from Umzu. That commercial just keeps on popping up. The issue though is that just looking at the ingredients list, it's It's all right. uh, I'm not going to, I haven't taken it, so I'm not going to say anything one way or another about anyone else's products. Um, it's if it works for people, it works for people. But I don't know enough to say yay or nay on that. Paul has a question: is caffeine bad for erections? It depends on what you're doing with the caffeine. So, how are you getting that caffeine? Are you getting the caffeine from a Starbucks bottle out of 7-Eleven? Because a lot of times when people talk about caffeine, typically they're thinking about coffee. And what a lot of people end up doing with coffee is turning it into a hot milkshake. That's what it is. It's literally, yeah. If we want to, or turn it into a cold milkshake like a McCafe or whatever the hell, it's just sweet. And so when you're eating something sweet, that's going to lower your testosterone. And actually, milk lowers your testosterone. And so the caffeine, if you're drinking coffee black, that is fine. Coffee is actually like a herb. It's like a herbal tea, and we just happen to call it coffee. It comes from nature. It comes from beans. The thing you have to be concerned about with coffee, though, is that the coffee that we get. Think about when's the last time you've seen a coffee tree or a coffee plantation? It's probably because it's not in this country. So, how do you take these beans that end up in every Starbucks everywhere, all over the country, all over the planet? Where are these beans coming from? And how long have they been off of the tree? So yeah, there are a lot of different chemicals. There's a lot of processing that goes into making coffee. So you do want to be aware of that. So if you're going to drink coffee, get as high quality as coffee as possible. That doesn't necessarily mean the highest price, but yeah, there you go. So caffeine in and of itself, it is a stimulant. You do not want to take it over a long period of time. If you're taking it because you don't feel like you have to use it to wake up, then you're not getting enough sleep or you're not eating correctly. You are a human. In order to move, you have to have energy. So you have energy, and some people just get addicted to caffeine, and that caffeine, if you keep drinking it, it's going to cause you to have jitters. So you want to be very careful. I drink coffee like every once in a while. If I need to stay up to write something, working on a project, I'll get black coffee. That's it. That's it. Don't add anything to it. Damon, what's going on with you, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Ah, that's a good one, Wayman. Can you explain about the brushing of your teeth in the morning? So, obviously, you want to brush your teeth. And floss, everything that the dentist, not everything the dentist says, but most of the things the dentist say, brush your teeth and floss. The issue with toothpaste and mouthwash. So with toothpaste, the vast majority of the time is sweet. So you have to be aware that the first thing that you consume in the morning sort of sets a tone for your body. So inside of your body, inside of your gut, there's a whole bunch of bacteria. And we've talked about this before. It's like bacteria nations down there. So there's bacteria for, pizza. There's bacteria for carrots. There's bacteria for peas. And whatever you're putting into your body, that colony of bacteria, there's trillions of them. That colony of bacteria grows. So if the first thing you put into your body is sweet, that's going to cause a reaction in your body. And it's typically two things are going to happen. You're not going to have the level of control that you want to during the day. And two, you just spiked your insulin level in the morning for no reason. So you want to be careful with that. Mouthwash is a different deal. Mouthwash, the issue with mouthwash is that your body basically, to move blood through it, your body has nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is formed when you breathe. It also forms by food that you eat. Nitrates turn to nitrites, turn to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide helps the blood move through your body. As soon as you take mouthwash kills the bacteria in the mouth that's needed to start this process. So like I said, you eat nitrates coming from spinach, arugula, things like that. When you do that, it kills that. The saliva that's in your mouth that's needed to turn the nitrates into nitric oxide, it's not there. So you lose out on that. So you want to be very careful with the mouthwash. And of course, why is mouthwash so sweet? I remember growing up, we had Listerine, the original Listerine, that gold stuff. When they say that Listerine was first used for floor mop, for washing wood floors, It tastes like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Anybody who had that was like, no, no. So that's the reason why you want to be very careful with that. Great question, Wayman. Great question. Uh, M. Cool. Do you have any tips on breathing techniques to help blood flow? Yes, we did a video on that. Please make sure to check that out. When it comes to breathing, that's very important. You have 23,000 breaths a day. And a lot of times people don't think about it. And so when you're breathing a full breath, your stomach is actually going to expand. It's stomach breathing. If you were laying down, put your hand on your stomach, breathe in deep, and your stomach should go up, breathe out, it should go down. In terms of different forms of breathing, it's tons of them. I mean, there's as many, it's varied as many humans, it's varied as many results. I talked about 3 specific ones related to water, coffee, and whiskey. The water one is something that you could do all the time. You breathe in for 4 and breathe out in 4. So this and breathe out. You can do that all day, every day. In fact, I would recommend that you do it all day, every day. If you want to get a level of stimulation for yourself in terms of getting yourself a quick boost, a quick hit of energy, is a breathing technique that's called coffee. It's because it's just going to jolt your system. And basically, all you're doing is 20 breaths really quickly. You're breathing out. You're not concerned about breathing in. So it's okay. I'm not going to keep going. But so doing that is going to give you a quick jolt. I've tried it several times. It does work like that. I'll do it first thing in the morning just to get myself going. And also, there's whiskey. Whiskey is when you're breathing in for 4 and then breathing out for 8. Now, there's a reason why it's called whiskey. You don't want to do this all the time. This will just slowly, just like whiskey, it's not going to get you drunk. Don't try it like that. But in terms of the effects, in terms of it slowing you down, it does work like that. So if you're trying to go to sleep, that's a good technique to use. So though all that breathing definitely gets your blood flowing. You should really pay as much attention as possible to it. In that video, I talk about doing different things like having sticky notes on your computer, on your refrigerator, on your bathroom mirror. I've gotten into a tradition, a process where it's like every time I drive and I hit a red light, I start doing deep breathing exercises. It's just a reminder. Whatever reminders you have, it is free. So go for it. Cool. Great question, man. Mm-hmm. All right, what's going on, Moonshine? You make a good point, cuz I was down on the scale, man, but made some changes, started seeing results. Erections, however, have been unpredictable at times since pattern is key. Yeah. Definitely unpredictable. And there's a lot of factors that goes into your erections. But those 5 things covers it all. A lot of times for guys, if you don't understand your pattern, your body's going to change regardless. As you get older, your body's going to change. So you want to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Sir? Raj. I hope I'm saying that correct. Good evening. Are hemp seeds good for erectile function? Truthfully, I'm not familiar with just hemp seeds for that. I mean, hemp seeds just have lower CBD. Higher CBD, lower THC. So I don't see any specific reasons why that would work. I'll have to do some research. I'll have to check, but I haven't heard of that being ever a question or an issue. All right, cool. But yeah. Once again, for the fellas who are just joining us, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and this is what we do every evening on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I come on live to answer your questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and put that into the comment section. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I also want to point out something that, once again, we're rolling out soon. We're working very hard on it. We're trying to make this a true masterclass. And that is talking about what we talked about today in terms of getting your pattern together. Everything that I've been teaching on YouTube and for the past 21 years is all going to be culminating into this one particular course. I want it to be as effective as possible. We're actually going to have Facebook groups along with it, so we can encourage each other. So basically, the way that we have learned the wrong way is through groups. I mean, you think about it, it's like people sitting there telling you like, for example, with fasting, it's like, oh, I've heard things like, oh, if you don't eat for 2 hours, you'll fall out. Or if you don't eat, then you're going to be driving down the road and you'll just pass out and you'll get into an accident. I mean, these are things that people that just weren't born with these thought processes. These are things that we learned over the years, looking at TV in terms of like eating meats and eggs and things like that. You see it daily, every day. It's just commercial after commercial after commercial. Then you go into a restaurant, literally 5 things out of 30 things will have no meat in it. Isn't it? That's sort of, this is something that happens so often that we think this is the way life is, but we see the results all around us in terms of, the industrial meat complex started in the 1960s. And ever since the 1960s, people have been getting sicker and sicker and sicker. No time in human history have humans been able to eat multiple pieces of meat at the same meal 3 times a day, every day. Or 4 times every day. So we learned wrong. So in order for us to learn correctly, we need to get the right information and in groups encourage each other to do that. All right. In effect, 1, should we take African fly on an empty stomach? I would suggest you get used to it first. I do. I'll take it whenever. But yeah, it does. African fly does have a strong taste, and it is steeped in alcohol. For guys who that's an issue with in terms of like dealing with your stomach, you want to be careful with that. You can eat it with a meal, but yeah, you can definitely eat it on an empty stomach. And also, I do want to mention a couple other things. First of all, AF10. That is a discount code. If you want to go to African Fly, try out African Fly. You can use that discount code. And for my guys who've been using African Fly for a while, you like it. You've been recommended it to your friends, but you haven't been getting any dough for that. We changed that. We do now have an affiliate program. If you can go to AfricanFly.com. If you haven't signed up for Fly Zones, which is our email magazine, you want to check that out also. We have a lot of information that goes out through that as well. So all of those things are very important. One of the things I will be talking about, all right. One of the things I will be talking about next week is actually fasting. And I just want to jump into that really quick because a lot of times people, like I mentioned before, they're afraid of fasting. And I know such of a person who's afraid of fasting. Let me see. I just looked in the mirror. Intermittent fasting, I don't have a problem with. I didn't eat today until 3:00. But fasting, I have a problem with. My man Vance, he fasts like it's nothing. You just do a fast. I'm like, wow. And actually, I do understand to a point why that happens. A lot of it's just psychological. Truly, it is. Growing up with a mother who is like, constantly preparing for the next meal. She's feeding a family of 5. So it's like, all right, we're about to go somewhere, blah, blah, blah. So when we get there, we'll have this to eat. And when we get back, we'll have that to eat. So, I just grew up with that mentality, with that mindset. And really, once you understand all the benefits of fasting, it becomes easier. So I am going to be going on a 36-hour fast shortly, very soon. And I don't think I'm going to pass out. I don't think I'm going to die. I don't think it's a problem. But when I talk about that, check it out next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the video will be released. It's really deep. And actually make sure you come in for the 9 p.m. because, the video I did, that's like a good 10 minutes or something like that. But going deeper into fasting, it's called fast for a reason because your body repairs itself fast in ways you don't even expect. So, All right. Rodney V. Good evening, my brother. Does cholesterol affect your erections? Yeah, in a whole bunch of ways. So your testosterone is actually made out of cholesterol. Cholesterol is actually in every cell in your body. You need cholesterol to live. Typically, the issues that people, when they're talking about LDL, low density lipoprotein, and HDL, high density lipoprotein, cholesterol. The issue is, where's that cholesterol coming from? If the cholesterol is coming from animal fats, it actually gets more or less stuck in your veins. I mean, it's not the exact same fat. The fat gets broken down, turned into other things, namely LDL cholesterol. And so what'll happen is throughout your veins right here, it'll start tearing away the endothelia, which is on the inside, and it will actually start forming clots. It'll start forming lumps. So when people talk about plaque inside of there, that's what they're talking about, the cholesterol. That's the reason why you have to be worried about your cholesterol count. The thing about cholesterol is that, it's in everybody's body. Everybody's body is going to be different. So for some people, it's like, oh my, I have heard of people who have high cholesterol and no health issues at all. And I've heard of people who have high cholesterol and about to die. So it's very much, a matter of where this cholesterol is coming from. So if you have, if you're eating a lot of meats, it is going to cause an issue. In fact, it's to the point that and check this out in Game Changers, they talk about this, how if you're eating meat, the 5 erections that you're supposed to have overnight are actually smaller and have less blood volume going through them. So that's how cholesterol affects you like that. All right. Oh, hold on. Got a situation here. Okay. All right. Bunch of good questions here. How does African fly affect blood pressure? Ken, what's going on, Ken? Actually, African fly helps relieve blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, what it'll do is dilate the blood veins. So it goes from here, it'll start opening up. So African fly helps with, that's part of what it does. It helps with blood flow. So the wider you have your veins, the more blood goes through. That's the two things that you need for, well, that's one of the two things you need for better erections, which is testosterone, which African fly helps with, and blood flow, which African fly helps with. So yes, that's how it affects your blood pressure. For guys who are taking blood pressure medication, please be very careful, because we're not sure what the medication does. They're not sure what the medication does. So that's the reason why every once in a while it's like they have that commercial like, have you been taking our blood pressure medication? Call 1-800-OUR-BAD. That's 1-800-OUR-BAD. Yep. Claude, which is better, cooked spinach or raw spinach? In just about every case, raw. Just about every case, raw. I don't have a problem with cooked spinach as long as you're getting that in there. But I mean, just sort of obvious. What happens when you cook foods, especially when you're boiling them, is breaking down the enzyme. It actually doesn't matter if you're boiling or oven baking them. But with spinach, I tend to steam them. If I'm going to cook them, I steam them. When you're boiling it, if you've ever heard of pot lick, that's like, that's an old school term. But basically, when it was cooked spinach, you would cook it all the way down, and people would take the actual, what was left of the water. They take the spinach out. What was left of the water was called pot lick, and it's like, well, pot liquor. And it just had all the nutrients in it. So if you're cooking it in water, you're taking the nutrients out of whatever you're cooking. Whereas if you're steaming it, you'll keep some of the nutrients in, but raw is going to be better. Great question there, sir. Is there a link to sign up for Fly Zones? Yeah, actually, you can go to the website itself. You'll see a link right on the right-hand side with the description, and hopefully we can get one into the chat. And of course, shout out to my crew, the people who are helping me out here. Thank you very much. Because can I do all this by myself? I tried it once. It wasn't a good look. It wasn't. It's always better with a team. When doing intermittent fasting, can I include cinnamon powder in my black coffee? That's a good question. Yeah. I don't. Okay, so two things. There are a couple of levels of fasting. So you have fasting where it's like you just don't have anything in your stomach. That is a great way for your stomach, your body to improve itself, because there's no digestion. When you're doing a fast where, because if you've heard of juice fasting, that's completely different. Your body still doesn't do digesting, but you turned on your glucose. you're consuming something that has sugar, and so that changes your metabolism. It changes, it's sugar. So that's the thing. And calories, that's the thing. That's, well, not calories, but more or less the sugars, the antioxidants and things like that that come with the powders. So yes, you can do that. It does have the cinnamon itself. I'm trying to think it all the way through. uh, yeah, you want to be light with the cinnamon. Just being light with the cinnamon will be fine. You'll be fine. If you're trying to be pure with it, in terms of intermittent fasting, you're trying to lose weight as fast as possible, which means you're trying to control your insulin. Then just go with water. You don't want any calories at all. You don't want any sweeteners at all. Even if you're trying to drink a tea or something like that, you don't want to get like an apple cinnamon tea, because the fructose in the apple, if it's a real apple, or the flavoring that they put in there, is going to have sugar in it. As soon as your tongue touches sugar, it's like, oh, let's go from burning fat back to burning sugar. That's just the way your body works. That's the way your body works. Great question, though. All right. Hello, Uncle. We cannot take African fly with vitamin D. Thank you. All right, Fred. Can you take African fly with vitamin D? I don't see a problem with it. My question is, where are you getting the vitamin D from? My preference for you is to get vitamin D from the sun. Just go outside. Just been spending 10 minutes in the sun is great for you. Mhm. Hydration. And in fact, if you lay out in the sun, bucket naked, if you can do that without scaring the neighbors, then you actually increase your testosterone across your chest. I believe it's at 20%, and at on your genitals, it's like 40%, something like that. So yeah, getting vitamin D, having your body turn that vitamin D naturally from sunshine into you is way better, much better. So yeah, there's your answer, Fred. But if you have to go with the vitamin D, especially going into we have August left, and then we go into the colder months. I used to be a kid that roughly around October, I was just in the my grades would go bad. Things just weren't right. I couldn't figure it out. And basically it's because, living in the DC area, the sun starts leaving and you're no longer outside. It's no longer as warm. Your skin isn't exposed to the sun. And then, some people like myself can go into a little funk, a little depression. So yeah, vitamin D is important. Uh-huh. Hmm. All right. Wait a minute. Can you bring up the subject about the way the four animals don't digest properly? I'm not sure which four. I, look, all right, let's go. So, the reason why animals don't digest properly, let's go with the main one, because you're alive and they're not. Whenever you're putting something dead into your body, whether it's a Dorito or an animal, obviously the animal is way worse because you killed it. But, we're living, especially now, we're living in a time where it's like we have access to so many dead animals that we just consume it. And a lot of times people are like, well, can I eat this type of animal? What about shrimp? What about crustaceans? What about, they're all dead. You as a human, you can't eat them while they're alive. Maybe oysters, which is like ew, but but yeah, all the animals are dead. So yeah, your body, once your body is consuming it, the first thing that's going to happen is a level of inflammation. There's going to be scarring on the inside of your um on the inside of your veins, throughout your circulation system. Um, the effects are immediate, um, and it becomes problematic if you're doing this over a long period of time. So whenever they're talking about plaque, once again, that plaque is coming from animal fats. I mean, and also they cause all types of other chronic diseases. So for those who do not know, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, is caused by eating animals. The animal fat goes ahead and coats the inside of your veins, and what's supposed to happen is, as sugar is going through your veins, it's supposed to go through your veins and into the rest of your body, go through the stomach lining into the rest of your body. Well, if your veins and the stomach line is all coated with animal fats, then it's not going through properly and it stays in your blood system, and so therefore the symptom is high sugar. The real issue is not the high sugar. The real issue is the fact that you've been eating all these animals, because anything you eat, just about it is, your body runs off of sugar. So your body doesn't need carbs. Your body makes carbs. So yeah, you're going to always have that problem if you continue on eating that. So yeah, it doesn't digest properly. It stays in your body, and when it stays in your body, death does what death does. It deteriorates. It crumbles. It falls apart. It creates death. So, that's the reason why you don't, as soon as a human dies, we put them into the ground. As soon as the animal dies, we put them into a ground, because everything that comes after that is horrible. The smell, the sight, everything is a horrible thing. All right. Claude, what's going on with you, Claude? Raw beets or cooked beets? I love raw beets myself. I've never been a beets fan. Beet juice, I love beet juice. But raw beets, yeah. But hey, if you love them, keep going for it, man. So yeah, they're going to be better than the cooked beets. Once again, you're going to have more nutrients in it. Typically, the reason why we're cooking specific plants is to break down the fibers. So it's like potatoes. You have to cook potatoes because you have to break down the fibers in order for you to be able to digest them. But if you can eat something raw, you can eat something. Yes, that sound. You can eat something raw. So yeah, that is another great question. And guys, when it comes down to food, the thing you have to be careful about, the thing to understand is that eating out, not the good eating out, the wrong eating out is problematic, because their goal as a restaurant is to make money, and so they're going to cheat. If they're going to add sugar to stuff, they're going to add salt to stuff whenever they can. No diss to anybody that likes Phillips, the seafood restaurant, but God, no, I can't even stand their biscuits. That's like torturous to me. I mean, it's just salty. It's just salty to me. So, yeah, you have to be very careful with all of that when it comes to eating out. It's better to just become good at eating what you eat at home, and also stay away from the microwave. The microwave kills food that you put into it. All right. All right, Jose Cortez, what do you recommend for ED? Woo! Got 200 videos on that one. So, what do I recommend? Once again, the ECS system, you have to pay attention to your energy, what you eat, your sleep, your exercise, intermittent fasting or fasting itself, giving your body a break, and your soul in terms of getting rid of your stress levels. So, yeah, it's work. Other than that, I mean, obviously, I recommend African Fly. But if you're dealing with with ED as erectile dysfunction, as in you have a problem getting up altogether, then you have to do you have to do the other 5 things. There isn't like, it's like I have ED, I'm going to take Viagra. Guys, just so you know, Viagra, Cialis, all these other products, they will stop working because you haven't dealt with the actual cause. You're dealing with the symptom. The symptom is your penis isn't working. The cause is your testosterone levels are low, or your blood flow is just not working correctly because it's blocked up with other things. So you have to do those things. Uh, all right, wait a minute. He's clearing that up. What I was talking about, the way people say chicken is good. I would highly suggest checking out, which one was that? What the Health? Yeah, What the Health? A movie on Netflix, a documentary on Netflix, and they talk about chickens. So a couple of things to understand about chickens. The chickens we eat today are bred to breed fast, to grow fast. They have hormonal issues. One, two, their living conditions is abhorrent. Um, I'm not even going to use that word anymore. Let's go with the regular word. It's fucked up. I mean, you got chickens, live chickens, walking around on top of dead chickens. I mean, it's a horrible scene. So that's just the life of the chicken. Once the chicken is killed unceremoniously, and they pluck it and everything like that, they actually fill it with saline. So the whole thing about getting away from red meat, because that's bad, and let's go to white meat, that's chicken. That's a commercial. It has nothing to do with the actual chicken itself. So chicken has just as much salt in it because they plumped it up. It has the hormone issues. It has, and think about this: you're taking something that's dead and you're moving it. In the United States, most chickens are coming out of North Carolina, and so there is no. How do you get a dead animal from there to here? To everywhere. Well, it's not just refrigeration. The government actually mandates that you have a certain number of chemicals in there to make sure that the dead animal is no longer poisonous to you. So whenever people say, and I believe me, I believe this one for a long time. I was thinking I was good for years. I was like, oh, I didn't eat red meat. If I had the only time I had a hamburger or something like that was at a barbecue. That was it. But I'm being good because I'm eating chicken. And the entire time I was getting worse and worse and worse because the chicken isn't good either. It's not. It's dead. It's dead. Uh-huh. So yeah, you do want to be careful with a lot of times things that we grew up believing. Believe me, I know. I was down with it. I mean, think about it. The first thing you would do as a kid in the morning, as especially for boys, if you have a son and he's doing this, go ahead, feel free, get a running start, smack him on the back of the head. Because basically what they're doing is they're saying we're going to take two things that's going to mess up your son's testosterone level. And you, if you're still doing this, we're going to give you sugar, which lowers your testosterone level, and milk, cow's milk, which lowers your testosterone level. First thing in the morning when your testosterone level is supposed to be going up. So you got that morning woody and everything. That's because your testosterone levels are highest in the morning. And as soon as you eat something, it stops it because your body has to stop making testosterone, stop making human growth hormone. Let's focus on these poisons. And these poisons happen to be sugary. And sugar is sugar is rocket fuel for a regular car. It's like, yeah, you're going to burn hot and then you're going to burn your engine out. That's the reason why you give kids sugar and they go crazy and all this other kind of stuff. The same thing happens in your body. You just got older. You're able to control it more. So, yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Super Soaker saying McCoy. All right. I love that. I love that name. How many days a week ideally should you fast? Really, that's up to you. So, my question is: are you talking about intermittent fasting or regular fasting? I'll break down both. Intermittent fasting, you can do that as often as you want to. People have been doing that throughout history. They just didn't eat breakfast. Breakfast is actually a new concept. I mean, you think about it. You go back in history when there was no refrigeration. How exactly are you going to have milk for your cereal? How exactly you want to have bacon or pork or eggs or maybe eggs because you went out to the farm, you went outside and grabbed the egg that was just laid like the night before. Outside of that, you can't store it. So breakfast is actually a new concept. So that's intermittent fasting is a normal thing for humans. So you can do that daily for the rest of your life, and your body's not going to have a problem with this. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. That is a commercial. It has nothing to do with science. And also when it comes to, uh-huh. All right, I'll answer that too, Super Soaker. And when it comes to regular fasting, so if you're going to take, I would recommend 24 hours to 72 hours, 1 to 3 days of fasting. If you're going to do longer than that, definitely make sure you get yourself checked out in terms of going to your doctor, making sure you get a diagnosis. If you're on medication, you want to be careful with it. You just really need to do your research on fasting for a longer period of time. People can fast for, I've heard sayings you should fast for the number of years that you're alive every year. So I'd be fasting for 50 days. Oh God. but yeah, in terms of what fasting does, it resets your body. It takes your body through a whole autophagy. Basically, your body's going to go through and start killing off dead cells, old cells that are in your body. It'll actually release stem cells. And for those guys, if you've heard of stem cells actually do a lot. It actually helps your body recreate or create new and stronger cells. So when you go into a fast, your body is basically like, okay, we haven't eaten. Let's go ahead and direct all of our energy to build you back up so that you can go out there and get some more food. So your memory becomes sharper, so you can remember where the food was. Thinking becomes clearer. So if the food isn't there, where can you go get the next set of food? Your strength becomes stronger, not weaker. It becomes stronger because, well, yeah, you need to live. So go lift something, hit something, kill something, so that you can eat. And other benefits, your skin is clear and all this other kind of stuff. So yeah, I would recommend 1 to 3 days of fasting. Be very careful with that. But other than that, if you go 2 days without eating, you are not going to fall out. You are actually, by the third day, you're going to feel much better, and you're going to be wondering, why am I spending all this money on food when I can save the money? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wayman, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Uh-huh. All right. Mike 86. So should I be a vegetarian? I am so confused. I got you, Mike. I understand that. Actually did a video talking about the difference between being a vegetarian, a vegan, and whole plant-based. And I've gone through all I spent the vast majority of my life going through the meat phase. So yeah, the idea is that as humans, we get our bodies optimally run off of plant fiber. That's it. When it comes to eating meat, like I said before, we've never eaten meat to this level. Diabetes used to be a disease of the rich. Now it is a disease of 11-year-old kids because there's so much meat around. So I often talk about the process of pulling back from eating meat. I had to go through the process. It took me a while. But, in terms of understanding, first thing is the more information you get. So if you're watching the What the Health on Netflix, you can see that in the comment section. Have that there. There's also Game Changers on Netflix. They basically, once you see the information laid out for you, you're like, oh wow, we never did need to eat that. And you go through, they actually go through the different myths. The myth that we come from hunter gatherers is like gatherers who had to hunt if there was nothing to gather. That's literally it. If you think about it, if our ancestors ate like we did, there was no roads, there was no construction. So after they ate that chicken, they probably go like maybe 2 or 3, not blocks, but 2 or 3 wherever, somewhere, to put a hole and just keep on putting the chicken bones in it. So when you find a ancient site and we found bones of humans, why don't they find a big old pit of chicken bones? Some Popeyes left over, something. There's nothing over there. So obviously that's not what we were doing during our history. So yeah, make sure you check out the video that I do have up there. Yep. There we go. Man, I love my crew. We have how to change your diet for better erections. So yeah, I actually walk you through that process. I have some other videos that talk about that also. But yep. Mm-hmm. No need to be confused, Mike. Just recognize that try it. You'll see that you just feel better. Things will work better for you. Hey, Matman. What do you think about the Angion method, or ever heard of it? Unfortunately, no. Hey, Nikki, can you put that into Monday so I can look that up? That's an interesting one. Never heard of that method. Always learning, guys. Always learning. If you got some, that's why I love doing this, so I can get some questions of things I've never heard of. Mm-hmm. All right. Mike says, thank you, Doc. I watched many of your videos, but I implemented watermelon and nuts and apples and oatmeal as well. But Doc, I need my chicken, sir. Hey, I understand it. It's 2 things that's happening at the same time when it comes to things that you're addicted to. Let's just call it what it is. Bro, you're a junkie. You're a chicken junkie. I know, some jerk chicken, some fried chicken, some alabaster chicken, some turmeric chicken, some curry. Man, think about it. How many damn flavors of chicken are you going? I know. Because I had all them damn flavors of chicken. So I understand that. Wingstop, woo, toe it up. So what ends up happening, once again, in your gut bacteria has formed a nation of bacteria that is there just to take care of chicken. So you eat the chicken, that gut bacteria has been growing over the years. And so what happens is, as soon as you become, 2 things are happening. As soon as you become hungry, that gut bacteria is going to say, hey, we want something. So they'll send a signal up to your brain, go get some more of that chicken. So yeah, you got that. Plus, you also have triggers for it. You just look out the window, like I'm looking out the window. Oh, look, the sign is right there. It's as bright as I don't know what. Wingstop. And right there, right across the street, got a whole grocery store that's full of chicken. And then, I mean, canned chicken, frozen chicken, cooked chicken, hot chicken. Oh man, I mean, it's all over the place. So there's so many triggers. So it took me like a while to get off of chicken, but you know, it's worth it, man. It's worth it. You are welcome. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. I think I answered that question. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah, fellas, we are coming up on the 10 o'clock hour. This has been a great hour. Thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for the guys in the comment section with the questions. All of this is love. We get to learn from each other so that we can get better, get healthier, not have issues, and hopefully, prayerfully, send this message down to our young men also, because you think about it, when I was coming up, McDonald's was a treat, like once a month a treat. And then by the time I was somewhere in my 30s working over at Geico, it was every day. And I got the supersize me treatment. My whole body just said, no. Blood pressure was like, yeah, we're going to kill you any second now. So yeah. It's all about learning and changing things up. Thank you very much. Appreciate all of you guys. See you next week. And yeah. If you haven't done so already, once again, just go ahead and hit that like button before we get out of here. But I will talk to you all later next week. This is Uncle B saying, get your game up and go hard. Peace out.